In this video, I'm going to talk about plants inside Lumion. I'm using Lumion 10 Pro and why I think this is such a great tool for garden designers and landscape architects. My name is Katarina, I'm a garden designer, and I see you next. So welcome to another video from Garden Design Tools. We're going to talk about plants, the possibilities inside Lumion of changing plants and working with plants, etc. So one of my favorite things is the vast vegetation, vast library that Lumion has inside already that comes with Lumion Pro. I'm always talking about Lumion Pro that has the biggest library. So just let me show you quickly. So you have like in trees, a lot of trees, broadleaf conifers and the palms and the leafless trees. They are great for like autumn kind of vibe if you want to do something with your renderings. What I would really would like to, one of the things that I would like to see in the future inside Lumion is having more specific information about each species. So a little bit like you have some extensions that you can do this with within SketchUp, for example. It would be great to just have some more information, some more data inside Lumion about each species, so you can change from spring to autumn, etc. And be accurate. That's the thing, you know. Don't just be more brownish, but be accurate to that species. Anyway, so what I really would like to focus on is that they have a lot of they have a big library, but you can always add to the Lumion library, and that's one of my favorite things. So I know, and I had a comment about it on Instagram, that the Lavandula, I use a lot of Lavandula, you know, in my projects. I'm in Portugal, so that's what we do. And but it's very specific look, and you know straight away it's Lumion vegetation. Even if you work a lot with effects to give a certain vibe to your renderings, that plant specifically, you can see straight away that's from Lumion. So one thing you can do, and that's pretty cool, it's change the species, okay? So change and add from other platforms, like the 3D warehouse, for example. You know, I have a collections in the 3D warehouse. If you want to take a look at, I will put the link in the video description after. But one of them is plants, and you know, and you have plants from other people in the 3D warehouse that contribute with their models. So, and they have really cool vegetation, especially if you're just thinking about still images and renderings. You have some great plants inside the 3D warehouse that you can easily add to your library in Lumion. So, you know, and this is a great way of changing, for example, the lavandula if you're a bit sick of that look. I'm not, but I had some comments about it that you can see straight away that's a specific Lumion look. But you know, the 3D warehouse, and check out our collection. Some specific things to be careful about. Always check the polygons in here. Don't make it such a high number, because it might look great, but it's gonna really, the workflow is gonna be horrible because it's gonna be really heavy. So have that in consideration, okay? Always open first in SketchUp the models, because it might be something wrong. It might not be exactly on the directions, on the not zero point, okay? And after it makes moving inside Lumion a bit cumbersome. And another tip is, if you like, for example, LG has cool models, and him, Ronaldo Luidi, it's Brazilian, and he has a lot of cool models as well. So just check out the other models he has is in his page, because if they really have some nice models, you know, it's a person to follow and to keep a track on of what they're doing, okay? So yeah, that's an amazing way of just adding plants. Like I had this euphorbia here. adding plants to your Lumion library. So that's fairly easy. You just go import model, and I import, and you add to your plants. Is here it's red because I already have this here, but I'm just gonna to demonstrate. So now you have another lavandula. What I like to do, a little trick I like to do, and it looks good. Okay, of course you put side by side, the quality is not the same. What I like to do sometimes, just to make it a bit more, is just to change a bit the vegetation. I just put it, I go to the grass, to the grass, and I just put some like this kind of more natural green. But it looks good. Of course, the flower is not the same when you compare side by side with the Lumion one. And of course, perfect will be Lumion to add more plants. And they are adding plants every time there is a big update. But yeah, but this is a solution. You can definitely easily import, and you can create your imported models. As you're going to see here, you can create your own library. So I have complements, furniture, plants, projects. So you can customize as well your library. So you have here euphorbia, for example. And you can change the sizes. Some I like a lot as well is the agaves that you don't have in Lumion. And I definitely import them from the 3D warehouse. So that's pretty cool. So that's a way of adding, and there is other websites that you can actually buy plant models. So just check that out. It's a very easy way to just customize for free your library inside Lumion. Another thing I like, and I think it's amazing for garden designers and landscape architects. Imagine that you have all your vegetation, all your planting done in your project, but you decide you want to change a specific plant and you want to change in the whole garden. Okay, so that's something very specifically. And imagine that you have like 100 festucas in here, for example, and you want to change them all, you know. So in Lumion, it's fairly easy just to select that plant. You have here, it's easy to change layer as well. That's a cool thing as well. But you select all identical, okay? And after you can go here and you can replace selection. And you can replace with other Lumion vegetation, or imagine that you want to replace with something you've imported from the 3D warehouse. Okay? Another lavandula, for example. Or I'm still not happy about this, so let me just check it out something quickly. And I want to import with some other grass. No, not this one. No, this is not working. But you get my point. So you can fairly easily, you need to do just some adjustments after, of course. But it's fairly easily, you can change all the festuca plants in your project with other plants, for example. And that's pretty cool. I think that's a great tool inside Lumion that works really well for garden designers and landscape architects. And I had 173 if you haven't seen the number there. So if you're going to change one by one, that will be a lot of time. But quickly, you can just add a selection of the plant you want to change. So imagine I want to change this bougainvillea, and I'm going to change for something similar but in a different color. So I think it's here somewhere, the bougainvilleas. I still haven't quite understood the positioning of the plants inside Lumion, so I'm always losing where are they inside Lumion, to be honest. So as you can see, you can quickly change selection, and you have here a little scale that helps you out just to give an idea of the different scale. And here you can still do some other interesting things, like you can select all identical again and just, for example, randomize rotation, or just give it a bit of randomness, or randomize position, no, but rotation and size. Sometimes it can go a bit extreme, so you have to take a to just pay attention to that. But it's pretty cool with big planting schemes. Just randomize a little bit some of the species. So another thing I really like in terms of working with plants inside Lumion, especially garden designers and landscape architects, is if you have a planting scheme or a group of 3 or 4 species that you're working with, and you're working in repetition, so imagine that you have these species and you want to work with them, you can create a group. That's what I did here. And as maybe you notice, when I replaced the festucas, it didn't replace these ones because they were closed up inside a group. So in Lumion, you can create groups of plants that you can actually save in your PC to work with other models or with other projects inside Lumion. So that's pretty cool. Imagine that you have like a group of these plants that you're repeating in some of your projects. So that's a great way of saving a specific combination, and just you can upload to other projects. So, and in here, this group is all connected now, and if I press Alt and the Move key, I can keep on repeating the group. Okay, so you can do smaller groups, of course, but that's pretty cool if you're working with big planting schemes and that you want to quickly just add some plants that in the specific combination that you're working on. So that's pretty cool. And that possibility of saving that combination is pretty cool because you can use it in the future models. Another thing I like, and this was improved in this last Lumion update, is the clusters, especially for background. I think this works really well. Just to do some quick planting in the background. I'm just going to show you. So in here it's white, but if I wanted to add some, not pine, let's say broadleaf, square, circles. So you can see now, this is for the background, so you can see it's in low resolution. But once you render them, you see, you're starting seeing, and it works really well for the background. It works really well to do some background quick planting to give it context to the gardens. Another thing you can do, it's, for example, if you have some, in terms of context, if you have some specific vegetation that you want to just show, let me choose something. Let's say, I know what I want. I want some pine trees. Let's go to the pines, the conifers. And I still don't know where they are. This is amazing. Okay, some Mediterranean conifers. Now you have this paint placement. So that's pretty cool. that you can quickly, it doesn't show them render now because on purpose, so the workflow doesn't, but you can quickly paint. Okay, and what I will do now to don't be all the same is if you go and select all identical, randomize rotation and size, so you're gonna have a more natural feel after. Okay, so that might be a bit too much in this case, but just to give it a background of vegetation, it's a bit too dense maybe, but you get the idea of what you can achieve. Another thing I like to use inside Lumion is the, let me just clean this up a little bit. Is when you're working with effects. For example, you have this shot here. I like to add the effect autumn colors if you want something like to give it a bit more seasonal kind of feel to the garden. And in here, it's not specific to some of the planting, so you know that plant doesn't really get that brown or that specific use, so be very careful how you use it and with what vegetation, okay? But it definitely gives you that more autumn feel kind of vibe. And I like it. And I like to add rain as well. So just for this seasonal kind of renders, maybe this was something that you just quickly show to your client. But as you can see here, everything that's in the group, it doesn't add that specific effect. So just be careful with that as well. But you can definitely add some some more of seasonal theme kind of vibe. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool. Just don't exaggerate it, that's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's the main reasons I think Lumion is such a great tool. And you have other things like grass, 3D grass. One of the biggest improvements in Lumion 9, and that's amazing. You have all these types of grasses, and I love to use the wild one. They look so good. And plus, you not only have them like they show here, but you have extra settings. So you have all this curliness. You can curl your grass more or less, the size, the length. So as you can see, all this makes Lumion an amazing tool for garden design and landscape architects. I'm a big fan. Other softwares are great. Something like Twinmotion, for example, it's free until the end. I will definitely suggest everyone to download that program. It's free until the end of this month. And I'll be doing a course, an intro course on that as well. But for me, Lumion is just amazing, and I still haven't seen another program that's this easy to use and has this many settings that you can work on, but fairly easy and quick. That's the thing. You need to put all this together. You have a great vegetation library, and it's easy usability, and plus it's fairly quick. You know, you can quickly, if you know after a few times you've known the program and you have saved the settings, for example, you like to use the most, you can quickly, and groups of planting, for example, you can quickly just put something together to do a presentation of your ideas. And it sells fairly good your ideas, I think. So yeah, that's my why Lumion planting it's so great for garden designers and landscape architects. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll do more videos talking about plant specific videos, and plus I have something that you might like, you might enjoy if you're already using Lumion, that I'm gonna share with everyone that's gonna subscribe, and this is online as well, but anyway, I'm gonna make it easier. That's pretty cool. So this is from 9, but it didn't change a lot for Lumion 10. Is the plants they have inside Lumion, because something it's a bit annoying to me, it's that they use common names, and they use common names that sometimes they are common in the States, for example, and not in, definitely not in Portugal because they are in English, but not in other even English speaking countries, you know what I mean? So I would prefer them to have the Latin names. That's what I prefer. But I have here a list from all the common names that they are used inside the Lumion library and the Latin name. So that's pretty cool, and that's something you can, and this is the trees. And I think this is almost all the plants, for at least at the Lumion 9 version. Lumion 10 has some more plants, but I just want to quickly just tell you that they add the fine detail nature, and I think there's still not a lot of vegetation inside, and it's more detailed, and it's of course better looking. But there is, if you start using, if you, for example, if you start using in a planting scheme a lot of this model, for example, let's say something else. I'm a big fan of the normal version, the normal vegetation they have. So the fine detail, it's okay, but it depends how much you're using, because if you're using, for example, this looks cool. Of course, this looks much better. It looks amazing. It's from Evermotion. But if you have in a planting scheme, imagine 100 or 200 of this fine detail nature, is really going to slow down your modeling. So just have that in consideration. I would use in some very specific trees that you're going to know that they're going to have impact in your rendered image. I will not use for all the vegetation, and you don't have a lot of them. So let me just show you quickly. You have in the plants you only have 2 tabs, so you can see what you have in here. So the boxwood, it's definitely cool. The boxwood is much better than this is definitely a big improvement, because we didn't have this great detailed boxwood before. And you have some trees. You have 4 tabs in trees. It's clipped. The clipped ones, they are pretty cool. So imagine that you're using only 6. Great, use them, okay? If you're gonna start using 100 or even 20, it depends on your PC, but I would definitely not suggest to go overboard with that, because it really would slow down your workflow, and that's not the point, okay? So I hope you like it. I'm gonna do some more videos talking about Lumion 10 and the features I like, and other things I don't think they are a bit pointless. But yeah, so I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.